Hi, Taffy. Here's a little bit more about extracting so that you'll have something to refer back to if I'm not around. Um, when you have your picture of your headdress, it's going to start out being called background. Be sure to make a copy of that. You can do that by simply dragging it to this little icon. See in the very bottom right, creates new layer. So if I drag that in there, I got background copy too. Okay, so great. That's my copy, and that's the one I'm going to work on. And then what I do is go back to your layer below and click Create New Layer and add a color that's completely different than what you're working on. There's nothing blue in here, so I'll just add blue. You can ignore my other layers you see there. They're just from other things. So now let's go take a look at this little pecan piece here and select our curvature pen tool over on the left. And I'm going to do a very rough, quick go around on it because I know you know how to kind of get around a little better. Let's go in really close and show you that, oh, look, I missed that whole part there. I can go with the tool and just click somewhere and push it further. And then continue. It's like, wow, this is kind of like a strong turn here. It's a real 90 degree. If you want a sharp corner, double click your point, and suddenly you can go down without worrying about the curves to turn a corner. So then you can just start clicking again. And I'm just going to extract this top part just for expediency. And oh, see how it came out a lot there, so maybe I don't want that point to be as far, so maybe a little less. So remember, this is just pretend. Oh, and look, it's out so far, so I can just go in and pull. I can go pull that. I could go move this if I want. So lots of ways to change that. So I now have a new work path from what I just did, and I want to make sure I save that. Double click it and either just take the default name as it just gave me or type in your own name and click OK. You've saved that path now. You can go off it, you can go on it. I could click the other paths I've made too if I want, but I know that you then want to be able to get your marching ants and move it. But if you wanted to, let's say you want to remove something from it, here's what I would advise doing first. Get your path, make your marching ants, and hit Command J. J as in Jackie. Okay, see you got your little piece there? Now, I'm going to just turn off the eyeball on the layer we were working on. There we go. Now we can see what we have. And let's say I wanted to take something out of the middle. I would click somewhere where a path is not yet in my path palette. Click. And then using my pen tool, which is still selected, let's say I want to get rid of that. So I've just done that. If I want to save the path, remember, double click and change the name. There we go. And then bring your marching ants up by selecting this little area here, and then hit delete. So for interior items, you can get rid of them quickly that way. If you have something really tiny that you need to fix after, go to your eraser tool and get a hard-edged eraser. And let's say I just wanted to smooth something off a bit there, I can. You can go in or out. I have a zoom tool on my mouse that rolls that lets me do that. If I wanted to, let's say, get exactly close up on this, hold my mouse over the little picture of it in the palette, hold down the Alt key, and then click my mouse. And it brings that right up. Or you can go Command for you Mac girls. So Command 0 brings your whole page into focus. You can then just use your zoom wheel, go wherever you want. If you can't find one of your palettes, go under Windows, look for the palette. If it's got a check mark, it's open. It's possible you may have somehow buried it, or it's just linked in somewhere else here. A palette, if it's not open that way, it might be sitting in this little bar. Click on any of them and except that one. Well, there it is. Okay, any of them, and they'll come up. Some of them are nested with each other. But there was our path one. Then you wanted to be able to move this. So come to the left, click on the move tool. Click and hold directly on the item you want to move. I am keeping the hold down on the button on the mouse. Now go to a place you want to take it to. So I want to take it over here. My mouse is pointed over the name of that document, and that document should come up. Then bring your mouse down into the document. Keep holding. Now let go. See that little plus in there? And it should come up in a moment. There it is. To add your drop shadow, you're going to go down to this bottom area of your palette over here and click the FX, drop shadow. There it is. It usually puts some default one on, usually the last thing that might have been there, because I was playing a few minutes ago, and you can play with the distance from the item. You can play with how soft your shadow is, and of course this stuff changes how far it looks away from the background, and that you can choose. Your one other option past the multiply would be to use where is it? You could use color burn. Go in and click on that black square, choose a more brown color like that. And you see how it gives a different look? You of course have your opacity, but sometimes you actually want to do something more like that. But for you, just default it out with multiply. Come on. Okay, oh, there it is. It's just being slow to respond to me. Well, I'm going to just say forget that and not bother putting it back for now. And I'm just going to say okay. You can do that by clicking in there, or you can hit your return button. If you want to do something where you're transforming, so I just did Command T. If you want to rotate it, when you come to the corner, okay, see how the little mouse area keeps changing? I'm going to go in close so you can see. Well, maybe you can't, but it's there. When it goes to that little curve, that means you can move it around. You could also put in the degree you want up here. If you are trying, I'm going to go hit the move tool. Well, no, I didn't need to do that. I wanted to get the hand tool so I could move around. You can usually do that as a default almost anywhere, except maybe in a text palette by holding down the space bar, and your little hand will come up and you can drag. So I'm just going to bring down a line so that I can show you how to line something up on it. So let's bring this over here, and let's say I kind of want this area kind of straight on there, and I know I want it straight from right around there. So I'm going to hit the Command T. See this line here, that little thing? All the action happens around it. So right now, if I did this, see, it's going around it. If I click and drag that down to here, watch what happens. This is really good for lining things up. There you go. See, it's moving from right here. To make that take effect, you can do that several ways. You could hit your Enter key. You could just double click in it, or up here, these are like your yes and no buttons. And a lot of the tools use them. So let's just say yes, that's good for me. So there you go. I think that probably gives you the stuff you needed to know to begin with regarding extracting and dragging things over. So I'll stop this video right